So I got some information about Matthew Allen Livelsberger. Matthew Allen Livelsberger. I got some information here that I jotted down, but first I'm going to read this little manifesto. There's actually like two manifestos. There's an email that was sent that has a whole bunch of military acronyms, and then you also have this little note here that I have not read out loud. So this would be the alleged manifesto, number 2, I guess, or number 1, of Matthew Allen Livelsberger. He's the guy that blew up the Cybertruck, the Tesla Cybertruck right outside of Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. We are the United States of America, the best country, the best people to ever exist. But right now we are terminally ill. Right now, the United States of America is terminally ill, and we are headed towards collapse. We are crumbling because of a lack of self-respect, a lack of morals, and a lack of respect for others. Greed and gluttony has consumed us. The top 1% decided long ago they weren't going to bring everyone else with them. You are just cattle to them. We have strayed from family values and corrupted our minds, and I am a prime example of having it all, but it never being enough. A lot of us are just sitting around waiting to die. No sunlight, no steps, no fresh air, no hope. Our children are addicted to screens by the age of 2. We are filling our bodies with processed foods. Our population is too fat to join the military, yet we are facing a war with China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran before 2030. We must take these actions if we're going to make it past the next few years in one piece. We must end the war in Ukraine with a negotiated settlement. It's the only way. Focus on strength and winning. Masculinity is good and men must be leaders. Strength is a deterrent and fear is the product. Weed it out those in our government and military who do not idealize number 2. The strength and the winning and the masculinity is good. The income inequality in this country and the cost of living is outrageous. The number of homeless on our street is embarrassing and disgusting. Have some fucking pride! I added fucking there. And take care of this. Stop obsessing over diversity. We are all diverse, and DEI is a cancer. Thankfully, we rejected the DEI candidate, and we will have a real president instead of Weekend at Bernie's. We must move on from the culture of weakness and self-enrichment perpetuated by our senior political and military leaders. We are done with the blatant corruption. Our soldiers are done fighting wars without end. States are clear objectives. This was not a terrorist attack. It was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence, and what better way to get my point across than with a stunt with fireworks and explosives? Why did I personally do it now? I needed to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I took. Consider this last sunset of 24 my actions, the end of our sickness and a new chapter of health for our people. Rally around the Trump, Musk, Kennedy, and ride this wave to the highest hegemony for all Americans. We are second to no one. There's a lot of this that I agree with. Not all of it, but there's a lot of this that I agree with. So I'm not going to go down piece by piece of which ones I agree with. I said I had some information, so let's just talk about who this guy was. So this guy's name is Matthew Allen Livelsberger. He's 37 years old, and he hailed from Colorado Springs at the time. He drove from Colorado to New Mexico to Arizona to Nevada, and then that's where he ended up in Las Vegas. But he actually grew up in Ohio. He had an ex-wife, 2 of them. There was 2 significant women in his life, and I think there was a girlfriend. Alicia Arrett. There's this woman named Alicia Arrett, 39-year-old Alicia Arrett. She said that they broke up in 2021, that she received 2 texts. One text on December 28th, 2024, and another one on December 31st, 2024. And then the wife had broke up with him 6 days previously to January 1st. Now that's the one I want to focus on because the article that I read said it was over infidelity. Well, the wife had made it seem like it was him that was cheating. he was cheating on her and she knew it. And yet there's this idea that's being floated that perhaps the DNA did not match the father. He had an 8-year-old girl at the time with this wife who just broke up. You don't break up with your wife. That's a divorce, right? But I guess you got to break up before the divorce. So what was that argument about 6 days prior to January 1st? What was that argument about? Over infidelity, yours or his? Was the kid his or was it not his? Because is that a big enough personal reason? I've been taking care of this kid that I thought was mine, this 8-year-old girl, and then I just found out that it wasn't my girl. What kind of fucking person? Naomi Judd did that shit. What kind of fucking person would say, this is your kid just so I could get your love and loyalty and dedication because I went, I spread my legs for this other guy and he actually got me pregnant, but now he's gone and you're sweet enough and kind enough to stick around, so I'm going to lie to you? That would be, pretty jarring information to hear. She was only 8 months, so it's not like it was years. Naomi Judd lied for years, like 10 years or some shit, or fucking 20 years. So 1 year, that's not, too bad. And it seems like with what he's talking about, he's saying that America is sick. This is a wake-up call. And so he's just kind of saying, look at what we're doing. He's saying he's guilty of all this shit too. How we're filling our bodies with processed food. How we don't really give a shit about anybody else. We're supposed to be respected, but we don't have any self-respect. We don't have respect for others. We don't have any morals. We got a lot of greed, a lot of gluttony, a lot of fat motherfuckers. The top 1% don't give a shit about the 99%. We're just a bunch of dumbass cattle to be taxed, to be ran over here, over there, get a fucking job, get out of our way. Who gives a shit? He's saying we don't have any family values, and then our minds have been corrupted. And then he said that he was a prime example of basically having everything, but it was never enough. And then the actions that he had suggested, well, I'll come back to that. Let's get to the information. So Matthew Allen Livelsberger was a Rambo-type patriot. They said that he was a staunch Trump supporter, which is interesting because he's going to mention war crimes that had happened under the Trump administration, war crimes that the Trump administration had lied about. And is that a big shocker? No. No, Donald, who lied 30,000 times in the first term, he wouldn't lie about this. If there's one thing, I guess if you had a politician that kind of seems like they could be a good person, then you would, maybe doubt it. Maybe they lied, maybe they didn't lie, maybe Clinton lied, maybe Papa Bush lied, maybe Baby Bush lied, right? Didn't have sex with that there woman, right? Miss Lewinsky. Read my lips, no new taxes. And they got him. They got him. They got the WMDs. It's going to be in the form of a nuclear cloud and a mushroom cloud if you're not careful. Baby Bush went around the country and lied, 500, 400, 300 times saying that Iraq had WMDs. And then whoopsie daisy, where did those WMDs go? They're not underneath the couch. Remember he made that video where he was just kind of laughing about how he lied us into war? Oh, man. Oh, that Baby Bush. So let's keep on going with some information. So apparently he's a staunch Trump supporter, even though he had got him to commit war crimes. He saw innocent people die. He said hundreds of children were killed. And he also saw his brothers get killed. And a lot of this has to do with, he had 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, but he specifically mentioned the 2019 Nimruz province, the May 5th, 2019 attack. He was the IT guy or some shit. I'm not for sure what his involvement was, but he was just sick to his stomach, which is great. It's great that he has a conscience. It sucks that he didn't actually have any help. He didn't want to talk to the mental health expert because, well, hell, if they say that his mind is all bad, then he ain't going to be able to have his fucking deployment and shit. He won't be able to stay at Green Beret. So Matthew Allen Livelsberger, he was a stalwart of stalwarts, heavily decorated. 19 years, he was a part of the Green Berets. He started the Green Berets in 2006. Fighting men, dun 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 dun. These are men of the Green Beret. So Elon Musk had bragged that even the glass doors of the Trump Hotel wasn't even broken because they had made the sides, so resilient that the explosion went straight up. He was deployed in Afghanistan in at least 2017, 2018, and 2019. Before he came back to the States, before he came back to America, he was last stationed at Camp Panzer Kaserne, which is near Stuttgart, Germany. He had a military record that spanned the globe. He's seen it all. He's been all over the place. Apparently, he did have some concussions. He had some kind of pain and injury, some sort of brain injury. He was a 5-time recipient of the Bronze Star, even one Bronze Star for valor under fire. So he took fire. He had a 8-month-old daughter. Maybe. Maybe it was his, maybe it wasn't his. Maybe he was cheating on her, maybe she was cheating on him. Says that he was reliving the violence of his deployments. He was reliving that violence of his deployment. He had lost brothers in uniform. And the reason why he said he committed the suicide, like I just read, was to cleanse himself of not of just those innocent children that he had murdered, but also his fellow Green Berets that he had seen shot and killed. It's interesting that nobody gave a fuck really about Iraq. 1 million were killed in Iraq, and then a bunch of people were killed in Afghanistan. And hell, it was Al-Qaeda in Saudi Arabia that did 9/11. Where's the fucking justice in any of this shit? Now there's a genocide in Palestine. It just doesn't fucking matter to Americans. You just keep bombing a bunch of fucking brown people. And, oh yeah, remember that one war crime in the Farah, Nimruz, May 5th, 2019? Remember that fucking war crime? Of course you fucking don't remember that in Afghanistan. You don't remember that 2019 war crime in Afghanistan because you don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck about the homeless. You don't give a fuck about the brown and black folks that get killed in America or the white folks. You don't give a shit about the cops killing people. You don't give a shit about the working masses, nor the poor, nor the homeless. You just don't give a flying fuck. You got a decent fucking goddamn pizza, right? You're watching your goddamn Arrested Development. You got your fucking Roku. You got your Netflix, right? Just fucking zone out, right? Just Netflix and chill. He was a huge Tesla fan. Apparently, him and Alicia Arrett were big, huge Tesla fans. It's what they had bonded over. He was getting mental health, but he also refused mental health. So both of those things were going on. He refused mental health because if he was mentally unfit, then he would be kicked out of the Green Berets. There'd be no more deployments. He wasn't going to risk his job and his career. And then that's a sign of weakness, right? What, you give a shit about something, you keep reliving your brother who got his head fucking blown the fuck up. You keep reliving all those little kids that you fucking blew the fuck out of. I like that he has a conscience. I'm more worried about the psychopaths that fucking do that shit and don't give a shit. Well, I was friend with old Jimmy and goddamn motherfucking Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but they got fucking, man, they got beheaded. They got blown the fuck up. Yeah, we were out there killing a bunch of fucking kids, and then they all got blown up, and oh, well, who gives a shit? What's on Netflix? So if anything, he was one of the good ones. He was one of the good ones, so therefore I would want him to be considered mentally fit and for him to continue to do deployments. We want people with consciences. But even if there was war crimes that was committed, I mean, Donald had went ahead and pardoned all those Blackwater guys. They were just driving around randomly shooting people in Iraq. That's not justice. We don't want American troops going around just fucking killing innocent fucking people. That's not what we're doing around the world. If we're just a fucking Nazi goddamn stormtroopers, and we need to stop this shit right the fuck now. If we're going to be the premier empire, then we'll support the revolutionary movements. We'll make sure we'll analyze the situation on the ground, and we'll support the Egyptian revolution. We won't fucking finance the goddamn dictator for fucking 40 years. We're not going to put a fucking military base in Cameroon and support a dictator who's been in there for 40 fucking years. So Matthew Allen Livelsberger had been receiving mental health assistance, apparently not good enough mental health assistance. There's 2 letters that were found on Matthew Allen Livelsberger's phone. The U.S., who is led by the weak, who want to enrich themselves. So that's interesting. In a way, I could see kind of both perspectives, right? It was the administration that he blames, which had been under Trump, but then both sides, right? The weak, the fucking the rich and the powerful, they're a bunch of fucking trolls. A bunch of weak-ass fucking piles of shit who just want to fucking make money off of our backs. When you have a nation who's being led by scholars and our wars are being fought by warriors, then our nation is going to be led by cowards. And the fighting is going to be done by fools. But we need our warrior scholars and scholarly warriors. We need our warriors to know what kind of shit they're getting into, for them to avoid the fucking suicidal missions, for them to avoid the war criminal activities. And we need to make sure that the nation's leaders aren't sending them into death traps, into a suicide mission. He said it was a stunt, not a terrorist attack, and that's true. No civilians were killed. He killed himself. And there were 7 injuries, but you seen the video. There was a lot of fireworks. He says that we like violence and spectacles. And my God, is that not fucking true? He said he hated DEI hires. He also hated poverty and homelessness, which I kind of like how this is such a good cross example of. He also talked about the 1%. So he's talking about let's not do affirmative action, which that makes me think he's right-wing, but then he's talking about the 99%, so that makes me think he's left-wing. He's talking about homelessness, so that's left-wing, right? He's talking about the poor people, that's left-wing. But then he's talking about processed food, so I guess that's Robert Kennedy Jr. now, so that's right-wing. Is this Carmageddon? If you go left and I go right, we're going to pray that we get out alive. All these damn lies. It's not war, it's genocide. It's not war, it's genocide. So he drove from Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, then to Nevada. He originally was born and raised in Ohio, highly decorated. There was actually a whole bunch of newspaper clippings when he was in the service in the Green Berets, which is the Army, right? He was helping people. So he's coming back, he's helping people, he's making money. He's this hero, right? He did 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, and who won in Afghanistan? Oh, shit, the Taliban. The war crimes happened right next to the Helmand province. For some reason, we just kept on fucking going after the Helmand province. Why couldn't you have just let them have the Helmand province and then just take everything around it? Highly decorated, 2 tours of duty. And technically, I hear that he had no political party. He respected Donald Trump, but he had no political party. He was also a former high school football star. So this Matthew Allen Livelsberger is like one of the best of us. He's one of the best of us. He'll wear a veteran's hat, and then you'll pay for his fucking McDonald's, right? He'll wear a veteran's hat everywhere he goes, and people will say, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Man, we really like your service. Thank you for your service. Did you want to talk to somebody? Well, we don't have time. We got to go do some Netflix and chill. We got to lay back and relax on our lazy boy chairs. We need to go buy a fucking $1 million Tesla with our fucking, what were those big ass goddamn Jeeps that people were buying? Not a Range Rover, but man, what were those big ass Jeeps that people used to buy 20 years ago? Those gas guzzling fucking big ass Jeeps. We gotta go buy a big ass Jeep. He had rented the Tesla. Matthew Allen Livelsberger rented the Tesla, and he said that he was going to go camping at the Grand Canyon. Why are you renting this Tesla? Oh, I'm going camping at the Grand Canyon. And maybe he did camp at the Grand Canyon, right? That's in Arizona. He says Americans only like fireworks and explosives, spectacles and violence. And is that not fucking true? Holy fucking shit. I mean, when it comes to a story, if it bleeds, it leads. If it's gory, it's a story. And while I am covering this, I mean, look how sexy of a fucking story it is, right? Basically a lone fucking nut, lone gunman. They said, the FBI said he's a suicidal person dealing with PTSD. That's kind of how they described him. 7 people were injured, but not a terrorist attack. There was no buildings. That were just his own fucking car. Well, I guess he rented that car, but I'm sure the insurance will cover it. So he shot himself, and he destroyed some property that most likely is covered by insurance. And the glass wasn't even, of the lobby door wasn't even broken. He used camping fuel and gas tanks and firework munitions, mortars. And people were saying, well, man, he's a Green Beret. Why did he just use this shit? Camping fuel, gas tanks, and firework mortars? That's just like regular, common, everyday commercial shit. He probably could have got his hands on some. He bought like several guns. Like just on Monday, he bought a bunch of guns. He even wrote a 10-day journal of activity, I guess, from each and every fucking place. I bet you, since he was planning this thing, he said he was headed to Mexico. But if he can't get to Mexico, then he's going to go to his decision point. And there were some commonalities between the New Orleans. That was a terrorist attack. That was an attacking of civilians for political purposes. Now, I've never heard what that fucking guy, that Jabbar guy, what he was trying to do. There was apparently like 2 hours worth of fucking tape says he was driving to New Orleans. What he was thinking about, he was going to invite all of his family together and then just off everybody, go out into a blaze of glory by taking out his entire family, but he changed his mind and said, fuck it, I'm going to New Orleans and I'm going to go run over some Americans, including the Palestinian Americans. So, whoopsie daisy. If he was, they said he was Muslim, but he didn't attend the synagogue, the mosque, the church for Islam. He didn't attend the Islamic church of the community he was in. So just basically a lone wolf. He also had a divorce. He had financial issues. So there are some commonalities between the two, but they're both basically lone nuts. They rented a vehicle from Turo. They both stayed in an Airbnb. They both had been stationed at Fort Liberty. They both were part of the U.S. Army. Both were suicidal, and both of them had women issues. I don't know, women. Maybe you all could love a little bit better. Your all's lives pretty peaceful and shit, right? This country, you like his country? Maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. But it seems like there's a lot of Americans that seem like they're doing well. So that's men and women. So men and women, can all you motherfuckers do better? Old, young, gay, and straight? Can you motherfuckers do better? I know you don't give a shit, but can you start to give a shit? I mean, that'd be a big change. You know how you don't give a shit about anybody or anything? You kind of laugh about the poor. What was that one guy with the Christmas tree? He said, look at you poor fucks. This is how you do Christmas. He had presents underneath the Christmas tree. If Christmas is just the inherent goodness of the thing, why would you have to make fun of the poor fucks? Can't you just enjoy other people's company without scapegoating somebody? And if all we're doing is lying, cheating, and stealing to make our capitalist, how many necks can you step on before everybody's fucking neck is broken? So let's see, anything else? Newspaper clippings, high school football star, highly decorated. He got the Medal of Merit, right? The 5-time recipient of the Bronze Star, won even Valor Under Fire. Was his daughter his? Was he the one cheating? I'd like to know that. But frankly, that would be the personal issues that kind of pushed him to do this fucking crazy thing. And look at the symbolism. He's in a Tesla in front of the Trump Hotel. And then we're going to be told that he fucking loves these guys and that we should just all rally around them. I mean, that seems like some crazy-ass imagery, but he said it was a wake-up call. And I believe this shit. I don't know. This is from some guy named Chris, CYCXYC. Alleged Manifesto of Matthew Livelsberger. I've heard this quoted several times. And then there's another email that's got a bunch of acronyms, which I'm going to go through and define the acronyms so that way you can understand what the hell the email was talking about. OPSIN is Operation Sinner, and UBIED is a car bomb. So that's some details about him. That's read that little the second manifesto, which I hadn't seen. I've only heard it quoted here and there. So I was going to do, 2 more, maybe 3 more videos about the acronyms and the war crimes, the shit that happened in Afghanistan. There was some movie with, not Lou Figaro, but La 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 Bumba, that guy with Denzel Washington. He got on the train tracks and he, Pelican Brief, is that it? He got on the train tracks and fucking committed suicide because they kept asking so many questions about his military record. Man, don't talk about Vietnam. Viet fucking Nam wasn't Rambo. Wasn't Rambo a Vietnam veteran? So I'm going to define the acronyms so that way everybody will know exactly what the hell that email was talking about. We'll all be on the same page. My interest in this, while the media does chase stories like this, in a way, I just did a video about the all the great quotes of Jesus Christ. He had said that let the dead bury the dead, and he had some really kind of cold sentiments, but really it's fire if you think about it. Jesus Christ, the biblical character, is fucking revolutionary as shit. I am the law of Moses. They're going to throw him over a cliff because he said he was the law of Moses. Are you saying that you're God? I am saying that I am of the Father and the Father is of me. Oh, well, we need to throw this motherfucker down a cliff. So maybe you all could take a look at the Jesus Christ quotes that I posted. They're pretty cool little quotes. I went through the Bible and sort of just highlighted the shit that I liked. I thought was pretty revolutionary, that I thought was pretty fucking awesome. At first, when I read the quotes, I was trying to say, well, look at what Christianity is all about. And so by trying to destroy the Bible, I actually kind of fell in love with the stupid thing. Because the quotes ain't that fucking bad. And overall, it's about love, peace, justice, faith, and mercy, turning the other cheek, loving thy enemy. And how that fucking society that Jesus was in was a sick fucking society, just like he was saying. And he's saying we're terminally ill and we're headed towards collapse. This is the fall of the empire. Are you paying attention? America, you're just going to keep on marching even though everything's falling apart? Take a breath. Smell the roses. Do something a little bit fucking differently. You still got to get your job. You still got to pay that landlord. I got you. You got your bills. I got you. But maybe say hi to somebody. Maybe quit fucking shitting on the fucking homeless. You know, maybe this damn president can build some homes for the homeless. I think I will actually end off on the suggestions that Matthew Allen Livelsberger had suggested for us. He's saying we must end the war in Ukraine. We need to end the fucking genocide. We need to fucking end the genocide. If there is a negotiated settlement to be made, and it's not too fucking terrible, how much territory are we supposed to cede? Motherfucker, if he invaded America, are we supposed to give him Georgia? If he invaded America and he took over 5 states and we just give him Georgia, will he leave us alone, or is he going to keep coming back? It's a Neville Chamberlain capitulation, is it not? But with the current president, that motherfucker doesn't seem like he's ever going to end the genocide or end the war. He just keeps giving them billions and billions of fucking dollars. So I like that the end goal is fucking peace. The end goal is end the goddamn war. What was it? William Tecumseh Sherman, he said that the best way to end the war sometimes is to be more fucking vicious. To be more terrible. He said, focus on strength and winning. Masculinity is good. Men need to be leaders. Strength is a deterrent. Fear is the product. If you don't idealize that, then you need to get out of the military, out of the government. He's sick of the income inequality. Cost of living is fucking ridiculous. The homelessness is bullshit. We need to have some pride in our country. Take care of each other. Fuck DEI. Stop being racist.